Morning, everyone. I have Gloria Battini with me. She is all the way in London, which is just always so fun for me. I never know quite how people even find me some days, and I love when they do, and I love when I see it's somebody certainly not around even the corner. This is across the pond. Um, and we can talk offline about all the gossipy things in London that I just intrigue us Americans. We didn't even talk offline about that yet, but
Yes.
I know you Brits just laugh at us Americans who laugh about the royals, but we're not here to talk about that today. Gloria is an emotional wellness and self-love coach. She started her in the business doing events. So I'm going to really let her talk about her backstory to how she went from doing events to being someone who now coaches people. I'm so glad she's here. We're going to give out her website more than once because you're going to want to find her, but and it's also of course in the story link today, but it's the self mastery coach.co.uk, because us, we want to make sure on this side of the pond we get that right.
Yes.
I've interviewed many people in England, so we always make sure. But she just said you can always find her on Instagram. We both hang out there a lot, and it's Coach Gloria B. It makes it so super easy.
Super easy.
So welcome to Michigan. Today, I will tell you this, and you'll laugh. Today in Michigan, specifically in the Detroit area, we call this a national holiday because it is opening day for the Detroit baseball team. Oh. So it is, if you think about, soccer and rugby, this is a day where everybody's watching us because they're getting ready to watch baseball. And
right.
So nobody's doing anything but watching their computer screens if they're at work or home, or they're watching TV getting ready for baseball. And I laugh because nobody will get anything done today because it's just baseball. But so my husband got up today and he said, we laughed. I said, well, we should just have no mail. We should do nothing because in Detroit, it is a national holiday.
Wow, I feel
we take today very seriously.
Yes, it feels very special. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
So we probably all need to be having some coaching help with that kind of mindset.
Oh, not at all. No, not at all.
So tell us all about Gloria Battini.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. I'm super happy to be here. My story is a little strange. So as you said, I started in the events industry, and I am now a self-love and emotional wellness coach. It is a very personal journey. So I'm not British, actually. I am Italian, and I moved to London now 11 years ago now. And I studied events. So I have a master's degree in events management and events production. So that's what I studied. And I came to London to do that. And I've managed to do that. And I did it for 10 years. And alongside that, however, I had a very successful career. I was, happy with my job and everything, but it was just job. And then life got in the way a little bit. And this is now 4 years ago. So I was in a very long relationship. I was in a relationship since I was 18, and we came to London together. We married and everything. And the relationship didn't go really well. It was then growing up, because I left when I was 32. So between 18 and 32, you do a lot of growing up in there, right? A lot of stuff happens. And I grew up to realize that the relationship wasn't healthy at all. The relationship was actually really toxic, and it caused me to have severe anxiety, caused me to have OCD, very low self-esteem, all these sort of things. And it was a very narcissistic side, on the other part. And it wasn't easy to overcome. It wasn't easy to deal with. And to be honest with you, for the most part, I didn't even know what was happening, because it was all, I wasn't
It's
there.
encompassing. You're in it.
Yeah, you're in it. And I was from such a young age, I should add as well. So for me, it became normal until I started really having so much, my anxiety went to, through the roof, and plus it turned into OCD. So that was my alarm bell. That was like, what is happening, Gloria? You cannot, if you're not familiar with OCD, it's literally like compulsions in your head that you have to do certain things, otherwise something bad is going to happen, which is completely irrational if you say it out loud like this. But when you're experiencing it, it's really frustrating, and it's really like, you have to do it. It has to happen. This is how, it's really like,
well, it's you're having anxiety, but you're also trying to have control.
Correct.
I mean, and what was he, an older man? I'm just curious.
No, actually, we were the same age.
Okay.
Yeah, we were the same age. And so anyway, so that OCD was my alarm bell. And I went to ask for help, and I found a life coach, and I started working with her. She specialized in anxiety. So I started I wanted to work on my anxiety and my OCD. I honestly didn't know what was going on in my relationship. For me, that what was happening was normal, because it was everything that I had experienced, right? I didn't have any other experiences. So it was, for me, that was normality. And then as I worked on my anxiety and I worked on my OCD and I started getting better, then I don't know if you've experienced anxiety, but anxiety sort of fogs everything, doesn't it?
It does. And I'm very open that I have anxiety. And years ago, I didn't know. And I'm a type A person, and I thought I was having a heart attack.
Yeah.
And it was I thought I was having a heart attack. I ended up in the hospital, and come to find out I was having migraines and a panic attack. And the doctor came in and said, "You're having a panic attack." And, I remember calling my mom and dad saying, "I'm having a panic attack. And apparently, I'm type A." And we could laugh about it a little bit, going, "Well, I've always been type A. I've always been, but it catches up with you." I mean, I was 40, almost 50, I guess, at the time. And, at some point, something triggers, and something, I don't know what triggered it, but it triggers, and it makes you stop and self-reflect, self-care, and I mean, thank God in some ways that's what it was, because
of course,
I know now, and and I'm very open about it, and self-aware, and I talk about it because first of all, I think mental health has to be talked about, and every face should say it and not be afraid. And I talk about it with, I have 3 adult children who at different times experience different things. And I think it's important for them to talk about it, and for their friends to talk about it. Life is hard, I say.
It's a conversation, I think, that needs to be normalized.
Yes.
There was such I grew up back in Italy in a small village, and if you were to say, first of all, we didn't even know what a coach was.
Right.
First thing, right?
Right.
So the first thing that came to mind was to go to a psychologist or to a therapist. And if you dare to say it out loud, people would think that there was something wrong with you.
Right.
They'll be like, why do you want to go to a psychologist?
Right.
What's wrong? Whether it's a conversation that actually throughout life, everybody goes through those things, and it needs absolutely 100% to be normalized, because there is nothing wrong in experiencing those things. It's all part of the journey of getting to know ourselves and getting to know not only how our body works, but how our mind as well, and the tricks that the mind can play on us. And as you said, like it was eye-opening, and now you get to know yourself more, and now you know what to expect and what to do and how.
and you don't realize that how strong that brain is, that mind, and it goes and it goes. Like what I find, even if I'm experiencing anxiety today or tomorrow, it's like a tornado.
Oh, yes.
It picks up wind, but it also picks up wind in me anyway. All of a sudden I'll get a migraine or my stomach will hurt. It interacts within your body. It's not just, it you got to kind of grab hold of it. And I used to say that I was the person who could sit here and go, okay, stop it. Stop doing that. And what I found, and I think, and I've discussed this very openly with my, close circle of friends, is sometimes you can't stop it. Sometimes you can't put the brakes on.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
And that's when you it seems that's when, you found that you got help. Is that when you sort of had your aha, like, I want to help others? Or tell me about how you transition.
My haha came after that, actually. So the getting help for the anxiety and the OCD helped me to open up to what I was experiencing in my relationship. So I gained more confidence and more self-esteem so that I was able to stand up for myself. So literally, when I was saying earlier that anxiety makes you see a little bit foggy, right? Your thoughts are very confusing. So working on that brought me clarity. And with seeing clear the facts, what was happening in front of me and what I was experiencing, I realized, oh, this is not normal. Actually, what I've experienced, it's normal for me because I'm in this since I was 18, but it isn't. This is not what a normal relationship should be like. So anyway, fast forward 18 months, I left the relationship and I went to live on my own, and I was, super happy to have done that and everything. And it was very much, it was very transformative, but it was also self-discovery. I didn't know, at 18, when you get into such a serious relationship, you don't even have the time to become a woman, right? And it's sort of like I found myself then at 32 in this world being like, who am I?
Right.
What am I doing? What is going on?
Right.
And after such a traumatic experience as well, because 15 years of that is not, it's not pretty.
Yeah,
so
and even if you're in a healthy relationship, 18 to 32 is a very different person.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
100%. Yes.
Very different. And anyway, so I was very happy, got out of the relationship and all that. And after a while, once you find balance in one side of your life, you start seeing the other things that are a little bit off, right? So my job in events that I did for 10 years, all of a sudden was like, I'm not convinced about this anymore, because what am I doing? I'm not doing anything to make a difference. It's important to me, to the person that I now know that I am, it's important to make a difference. And yes, I can organize a beautiful wedding or an amazing, event, and the couple can enjoy it or the people can enjoy it on that night, but I am not really actually changing the world. So I started then again doing some research and seeing how, with my experience, how I could help others coming out of those relationships and understanding what the aftermath can be and how you can actually overcome the aftermath. Oh, I think I lost you. Are you there? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it goes a little bit. Okay. So how I could help others overcome, the aftermath of those kind of relationships. So I spoke to my coach and I said, well, coaching has been such a life transforming thing for me. I would love to become one as well. And she was very encouraging. She said that I would have been great. She said that she really saw me in this kind of profession. And she also said that the story, that the experience that I had could really add a lot to the profession, to the fact that I actually had been in that position. So I started studying. I studied to become a coach. I got my qualification. I studied for about 12 months. got my qualification, and yeah, here I am. So I did.
Well, and I think I always like to sort of reiterate that about coaches, because I do interview many coaches, and there are coaches for business and relationships, and people have heard me say this before, that like therapy, like anything you do, you have to seek out the right person, and find the right person for you and what your needs are. But I think it's really important also that when you find a coach, that they have been certified, that it's, there are certifications for coaches, just as therapists go to school. There's different things that coaches do. You don't, I guess you could wake up one morning and go, I'm a coach. My recommendation is always to utilize your best gut and conscious, your thought process of seeking the best expert. And sometimes the best experts also have the best schooling, the best of how they've educated themselves. And I have found that in talking with coaches, a lot of them go through the process of the certification and things like that. And so I appreciate that you saying that, because I think it's really important to bring that to light too, that when you're interviewing a coach, you can ask how, they should know, how did you become a coach?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really glad you mentioned that, actually, because I find that the word coach, especially in the past 12 months for some reason, but it's become a very fashionable term to use. But actually, coaching is a very specific practice. So it isn't enough, if you have a passion for something, if you have a I don't know why this example comes to mind, but let's say there's loads of book coaches out there, right? So if you're a writer or that, you can call yourself a book coach, but that's, so a coach isn't a teacher. A coach isn't a therapist. Coaching is a very, very specific practice, which is in the power of questions. So we are trained to put you in the position to answer certain questions so that you empower yourself to make the changes that you need to make.
Right, which is very different than therapy.
Oh goodness, yes, very different.
Yes. And I always like to, again, I sort of, in these conversations between, I have two clients who are in the therapy world. I work with a business coach who I love. He's not a relationship coach. He's a business coach. And so, he would say he works in relationships of business.
Yeah, of course.
But he's, but he isn't going to come fix anything when I'm screaming at my husband, and so, it's really, you could have 12 business coaches, 12 coaches, I guess, in your life at some point.
100%, I believe in the coaching practice, and I have loads of coaches as well for myself. I work with spiritual coaches, I work with mindset coaches, with business coaches as well. But I believe in the practice so much because it really allows you to go deeper within yourself, but there's nobody else there telling you what to do. It's so empowering because the answers that you get come from within. So it's your solution. And this is why I believe so much in the practice, because whatever it is your problem that you're having, whatever it is the problem that you're having, if somebody gives you advice and tells you what to do, it's never going to be as powerful as you finding the answer within your
solution. Yeah.
It's just so different, and then the fact that you want to choose a business coach with a certain experience, or a coach like myself, emotional awareness, who specializes in toxic relationship, because then with that experience in the background, I can empathize with you and I can understand exactly what you're going through, but I'm not going to give you the answers.
Right.
So
I think like this is a hard one, because you're really dealing with people who are in toxic relationships. So you yourself, it took a while for you to realize you were in a toxic relationship. Hypothetically, how do you know? how do you get, I mean, thank God I am not. I've been married almost 30 years. And, so I can say like, I, I know someone who I feel is in a toxic relationship. I can see that. But I don't know that she knows that. And so in my mind, when you're living in that space, is it a friend says, like, look, I
Mhm.
I think this is where you are. I mean, how do people get to you in that, like,
Yeah. So the people who come to me have realized that they are. But I do have loads of people, as we said earlier, we hang out a lot on Instagram, and I have loads of people who send me messages and say, look, my daughter is definitely in a toxic relationship, my son, my best friend, and they all tell me, what can I do for them? Well, I can tell you what not to do for them. What not to do is to go directly there and say, you are in a toxic relationship. Definitely don't do that, because it's going to make them go defensive. And if they are in a toxic relationship, then they're going to go and talk to the toxic partner, which is then going to tell them, oh, that person doesn't want any good for you. So it's just going to push them away from you, who are the person who could potentially help them, right? So I always say, try to ask questions. So have you ever experienced this scenario? What do you think about it? So for example, one big thing that happens in with narcissistic abuse is gaslighting. I don't know if you ever heard of the term.
Sure.
Okay, perfect. So it's when someone it flips it around for you, right? It says, no, you're inventing everything. I never said that. All this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody who doesn't know what gaslighting is doesn't know that they're experiencing it. But if you think that they are possibly living that, ask the question. Say, oh, has it ever happened to you that you've questioned your own sanity? Have you ever got to that point? Have you ever had a conversation with someone that made you feel this way? And this way, what you're doing by asking questions is putting them in the position to realize it themselves. And when you realize something for yourself is 100% more powerful than when somebody else says that to you. I mean, when I was dating my ex, I can't even tell you the amount of people that came to me when we started dating and told me that he wasn't the guy for me. Years. They said, oh no, my mom, she's like, I don't think he's right for you, and I've pushed my mom out a lot because of that.
Can you be in a toxic relationship with yourself?
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. You self-sabotage yourself a lot. A lot. And that's another one. That's another example. That's another relationship that definitely needs, it's the most important one to heal. Right? Yeah. Most important one to heal. And sometimes we get into toxic relationships because we are experiencing a toxic relationship with ourselves. So, a toxic relationship with yourself is, just to give you an example, is, for example, a relationship where you don't accept yourself, you criticize yourself a lot, you feel like you're not enough. You feel like, no matter what you do is never enough. You feel like you're competing with somebody else. So if that's the way you are speaking to yourself, then that's what you're going to seek out on the outside. Does that make sense? So that's what you're familiar with. So that's what you're going to go and look for. It's not your fault if you are going through, emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse. Obviously, it's not your fault. But if you haven't realized it yet, it's probably because you don't know the difference. So it's 100% not your fault, because you cannot know the difference because you haven't experienced it differently, right?
Yeah. Gloria, I have really enjoyed this conversation. I'm going to have you back because I think we should continue this conversation. So I'm inviting you back. I'm going to definitely keep you on speed dial. I don't know how you say that on Facebook. I'm going to keep you on Facebook speed dial, but I want you to come back. I want to have this conversation, even if we have it monthly, so we keep bringing this conversation to light. I think it's really important to have, I think, and the reason I asked that last question is I do think that people I'll say women, I will put it out there. I think that women self-sabotage. I think they go down that path. There's a lot of baggage. There's a lot of we have on our plates. And I think that that's when we do have to put that stop. You know, we've got to be kinder to ourselves. I see a lot of Instagram posts out there where, you know, you see people, it almost sometimes screams like they need help. And so I want to keep this conversation going because I want people, you know, to seek help. They can find you at the selfmasterycoach.co.uk, Gloria, I'm sorry, Coach Gloria B on Instagram. I suggest that you follow Gloria on Instagram, slide into her DMs to ask some
I'm
questions.
always there. Yes, always there.
But I really enjoy this conversation, and I do want to have you back. Go back and schedule another one. Let's do it in May. Because otherwise we'll go on, and I know people are going to go watch this Tiger game and, you know, or actually have to go to work. But I want to continue this conversation about help and toxic relationships. I think we end up with toxic friendships, toxic spousal relationships, boyfriend. You know, I'm of the age of kids who are dating, how we handle when our children are dating someone that we don't particularly care for. I'm not in that situation. I'll put it out there. But, you know, I've seen my friends who, you know, like you said, you sort of have to bite your tongue because, you know, I remember dating and my parents would be like, oh, he's not for you. And I'd keep dating. You know, it was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And, you know, the truth is I didn't prove them wrong. They proved to be right. But, you know, that's not always the case. I mean, look, you ended up in the relationship for quite a long time.
Yeah.
You know, before your mother was probably right, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I had a very beautiful conversation once I left with my mom, and she said, you have no idea how many times I tried, but I got to a point where I was either going to lose you, you know, if I kept pushing, or I just had to trust that one day you would realize what was going on.
Right. And I think we all too often as parents, or I'll speak for myself, as a parent, I've often reminded myself a million times about my own kids that my job is to love them and to be there, and often just keep my mouth shut. It'll just be there, like, you know, and, you know, I'm very close with my parents, and trust me, I gave them a ride for their life. So, you know, on most everything. And as I've gotten older and they've gotten older, I call them on a daily basis and go, okay, thank you. I get it now, you know, but I think that it's also helpful. You know, I have good friends who are therapists, and I'll call them up. And, you know, one of my friends, she taught me a really good lesson. Michelle, if you're listening, she once said to me, sometimes with your kids, you have to say, is this a listening conversation or is this an engaging conversation? And I often think about that, because I often, when my kids are talking, I want to jump in and throw my 2 cents in. And she taught me a long time ago where sometimes I just have to sit quietly and just go, I'm listening. I got something to say, but I won't.
It's so much more empowering if you think about it, when somebody gets to their own, when somebody, you know, is put in the position, then they get to their own solution. It's so much more empowering.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, she's an amazing therapist. I can tell that you're an amazing coach. And so I so appreciate our time together today, but I definitely want you to come back on.
Thank you so much. Super
So
honored.
go, if you still have my scheduler, go back on.
Yes.
I want to see you in May. And if not, I'll send it to you.
Yes.
But share the link, everybody, because somebody out there, I say, needs help. And if you feel it's not you and you're in a good place, thank God, you know, but we all know people who need our help. And, you know, I feel like this is my platform in storytelling to hopefully help people. And with Gloria today, hopefully we can help somebody who needs help.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity as well to do this. Thank you. It's been
Thank you all the way from London. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too. And I don't know, how do you say brick leg with the football? Yes.
I don't know.
It's like the baseball.
We're not supposed to be so good. So
okay.
Baseball. But
I'm gonna
have a great day, Tiger Baseball.
Have a great day.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.